Hello, Internet.
Evening.
What's up, Internet?
Lovely night. What is
You look
up,
great,
everyone?
Internet.
What is
You
up?
look
You
great.
do. Phenomenal.
Yeah, Internet's looking awesome tonight.
Internet's
Just
looking
a
good,
hot internet. Internet
It's
is
crisp.
hot
It's
tonight.
crisp. The
Crisp.
bits are flowing.
yeah. Tell you something that's not flowing tonight.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, guys. Welcome to another episode of Carbonite Donnie BS with me and the nerds here. On our iconic episode 4 review of everyone's
Iconic.
favorite show, The
Iconic.
Acolyte. One of the best series ever. So,
Oh boy.
before we even dive into this show and this wonderful, great episode review, let's let our guy DP let you guys know where to find us at.
Nerdcyclopedia.com, people, your favorite website where you get all your favorite social media ads on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and also TikTok, maybe, however long that stays around. Make sure that you're listening to us on podcasts. We are on iHeartRadio, TuneIn, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Play, Odyssey, anywhere that you listen to your favorite podcast. Guess what? We're there. If you're watching us on YouTube, thank you. Smash that subscribe button. Also, hit that notification button so anytime that we're on, you know that we're on. We're now also on Instagram now. All right, so we're live on Instagram. So make sure that you guys are giving us a follow on Instagram and also sharing our feed so you can know, so other people can know when to like us and everything. Make sure that you are leaving us some feedback. We're now at Nerdcyclopedia Feedback at gmail.com. All right, that's our new email. So make sure that you're leaving us some feedback, letting us know what you think.
Good stuff. It's probably the highlight of the day, to be honest. Highlight of today's episode is your feedback. But let's just jump right in. I mean, we will let the one person who I don't even know how the hell you can say anything positive, but I'll just let Ken start because I literally just need to hear whatever the hell he has to say that makes this worth anything.
So, opening scene.
That's where we're at.
With the Jedi all talking about this this mistake that they seem to have made, and no one wants to tell anybody. They want to keep it a secret. They want to handle it amongst themselves. We have Jedi Master Mundi ahead of the whole thing. He's spearheading the entire conspiracy. This is the moment that the Jedi fall from grace. This is now scripted. We see it now on screen. This is why the prequel happened. And this shows us where they were and how they got to where they are, and why the Jedi are untrustworthy and hated throughout the galaxy. This is why. Because how many times can you make a mistake and try and cover it up and not tell anybody? You got to go to the Senate. You got to tell them. You tell them what happened. And this is how Palpatine took power, thanks to Jar Jar. But this is how he did it. He said, you can't trust the Jedi anymore. Give me all the power. I'll create a clone army. I will bring order and peace to the Galactic Republic once again. The Jedi made this mistake how many times? Multiple times. Cover-ups. What happens when governments cover things up? Eventually they get caught, and then they get bunked out. So I liked this episode for two scenes. One, the scene where the Jedi are scrambling to cover their asses. That was great. We got some friends introduced to us. We saw them younger, a younger Master Mundi. He was about, what do we think? He was about 35 years old, because he was 135 at BBY when he died. And this is where it started. The rest of the episode, a little rough. Reminded me of Lord of the Rings. A lot of walking to edges of cliffs. Not much going on. The
Days of Our Lives soap opera stuff.
Very soap opera. I'm disappointed in the Jedi Wookiee. Basically, this felt like the Star Wars Christmas episode that no one wants to talk about. It was.
You mean the one with two B. Arthur songs?
And you can't tell me that he was dispatched that easily. Like he was sitting in a chair, playing Sabbath, and all of a sudden here comes this Dith, whatever, we don't know yet. So let's fast forward to the end, which was a great scene. Great. And now it's the meat and potatoes. This is what I want to see.
Yeah.
So just saw that opening 10 minutes and then the end 30 seconds where we got Mr. Dark, the Dark Man, the Walking Man, Leviathan, Beelzebub.
Kylo Ren's cousin,
Here he is.
Beelzebub.
The ghost with the saber, the most with the host.
Darth Beelzebub.
Yeah.
So, it wasn't bad. I watched it twice, but I came to the same conclusion each time. I'm not going to bash the whole thing, but I did think the middle section was really weak. It was kind of a toilet drain for me. But it did come back at the end. So
you like that. The ending was the shittiest part.
Oh, here we go. Oh man.
Let's get going because
here we go.
Like, I just don't understand. Like, okay, we talked about this, right? And this is like the me and Hitch thing. Like, this lady, like, okay.
Which lady?
This is on Leslie Headland, right? So we talk about like power levels and the Dragon Ball analogy, all this stuff, right? So let's just be honest. What Sith Master is going to literally engage on 14 Jedi at one time? Palpatine's not going to do it. You can go down the list. Sidious, nobody, no Jedi Master, no Yoda's not doing it. Like, no Master, no Samurai, nobody is going to engage 14 people. That's just impossible.
But these are weak Jedi. Yeah, go ahead. I get it.
Okay, so Jedi. So if we're saying that, then I'm just saying this right off the bat. There's no way that Jackie survives this season because she's a Padawan. If this dude is walking Jedi Masters, Jackie has to die. There's no way she survives the series, period. Because if this guy can walk Jedi Masters, then Jackie has no chance to live. But they'll pay her off and she makes sure she lives. But that's another story. So yeah, and then like at the end, right? Like I like how these Jedi in this series have no intuition other than now magically Osha sensed him, right? So like they didn't sense that this guy is about to like blow them back with this magic force push, like we saw it in Dragon Ball. Like when somebody powers up, nobody could have stood their ground and like repelled this like force push. Like I'm sitting there like, man, this is crazy. Like there's just no awareness for like this makes the Jedi look in this High Republic era literally like they're like all Padawans. Like that pissed me off.
Were Jedi the same? Had the same power level? Had the same abilities or whatever throughout like history or whatever? Like has it been like?
I mean, the Masters would, right? Okay. You would imagine like a leader because those are the council members, right? So like this whatever.
It's the same guy. It's the same people in some cases, as Ken pointed out. Kai Adimundi is on the council right now. Mm-hmm. He's in this episode. That's the same exact guy who's so worried about the Wookiees during the
very worried. Yeah,
I mean he's a Wookiee aficionado, and that's how he's only going to be in this episode. One of the most disappointing Wookiee episodes of Star Wars ever.
But T. Mitch, so the Jedi, and to DP's question. Or have Jedi always been like real powerful? But they weren't, because why did they need a clone army to begin with? Why was that even a thing? Because the Jedi handle it.
There's nobody in any. John Wick isn't taking on 14 fucking guys. Like, let's just be honest. That's crazy. He tried and got his ass whooped and died. We watched it. We watched the last John Wick. He couldn't take on all those dudes. So it's just crazy that this guy.
Do we know that he's definitely Sith?
I think it's the guy in the woods, right? Like he was just magically.
Oh yeah, for sure. You guys, like, am I the only one? Am I the only one on the show that watched The Good Place, the show with Ted Danson and Kristen Bell?
That's
I
about
watched
him
I
dying,
watched
right?
bits,
Doing the
bits and
top,
bits
yeah,
and pieces.
Well, yeah,
yeah.
he definitely is Lucifer, like for sure.
Well, so here's
for sure.
so okay. So there's a character on that show, and Manny Jacinto, who plays Kimi, that's who plays the character, and he's an idiot. So it's like the character's name is Jason Mendoza, and he's a real huge Jacksonville Jaguars fan. So every time I see this guy on the show, I keep thinking about it being Jason Mendoza, Sith Lord, and it's making me laugh. I think he dies because he gets locked in a safe because he's trying to rob a bank, but he doesn't realize that he needs air in that show. So it's a nice
You weren't
crossover
drawing
for
an evil, like the evil one, correlation between a good place, because that's about heaven, and
yeah.
And you have if there's heaven, there has to be hell, and there has to be someone.
There is a
ruling
bad
it.
place, indeed. There are
Yeah,
demons
there-
that they come in. It's a good show if you haven't seen it. I recommend checking it out, especially knowing that it sure seems like they're telegraphing that Khmer is going to be this Darth, Joker or whatever they're going to call this Rictus Grin, masked.
I can't wait
Single
for
Force
that.
user.
And I think that's going to bring revelation for us, and I think we'll finally have something positive.
I think
to
it
talk
better because we spent a whole episode walking around the woods,
Walking
and we had a situation where OSHA touched a bug, and then she's like, "I can feel the bug," and Soul's just kind of like, "Hey, shut up for a second," and just like smashes the bug. It's like, you could feel it. Great. Can you feel it now?
Can you feel it now? I cut it in half. Can you
It's
feel it?
always an honor to watch something turn into the Force. It's some real nihilistic stuff, by the way.
Right.
That's not my favorite. Not my favorite thing to see the government's, the government thugs espousing. Right, that could be destructive. And I gotta say, man, Kalnaka going out off screen. Why was this episode? I'm gonna tell you here. Why was this episode like 20 minutes long? You missed. There's like 5 minutes missing of this episode. Where the heck is this fight? And why would you do this to us?
Yeah, why would you just show him just sitting there in a chair smoking?
Recently dead.
Yeah, let's be honest. Where is the fight scenes, period?
We know, and here's the thing. We know there's a Wookiee suit that's suitable for fighting because we saw it in Boba Fett. I know. I remember I said it. Why you build the Wookiee suit, you use the Wookiee suit. Bro, they're not using the Wookiee suit here.
Whoever did costumes, I just want to apologize to you. You spent a lot of money, a lot of time. Whoever put that suit on, like, come on, man. The time that they spent, because those Wookiee costumes aren't cheap.
No, and Kalnaka looks great. And I want to see this. I want to see a Wookiee Jedi in action. I want to see what that looks like. I bet it's really cool. And I feel like we really got robbed of that. That makes me really upset. So I was pretty
what it looks like. Looks like crap.
These Wookiee Jedi are terrible. They're all weak. Like, do you guys really think this is like the F team they're sending out? Like, we got to get rid of these guys. We can't have them around during inspection next week. We got to get them off Coruscant. Better send them out to. I mean, Count Naka's out there. Like, what's the worst thing that could happen? You got a Wookiee Jedi Master. I mean, come on, guys. But why would this be so OP? Like,
That's what I'm saying. Well, it's one though. Like, this one guy, and like that's what I'm saying. Like, this is just crazy to me. Because right now you're telling me like this power level of this guy, right? He's stronger than Anakin because Anakin's not walking 14 people. Like, this is crazy to me. It's literally so. And in the Kalnaka thing, so he like sneaks up to Kalnaka. Kalnaka doesn't sense him. That's what I'm saying. There's no like intuition anymore in these people. Like, he doesn't know that this guy sneaks up to him and literally slashes his chest open. Like, there's no like he couldn't stop his saber with the Force. Like, come on,
we don't
man.
know. They left that scene on the floor.
There could be a whole epic struggle.
Floor.
Right,
you could write it.
Possibly.
100
I mean, it's to me, it seemed like it was early in the day. That's why I was asking the question, like how powerful has Jedi always been? Is there certain levels to some? Do they gradually, gain powers, or do they gradually gain levels? Remember when the first episode where I was saying, okay, I'm trying to decide whether I like this Osha and May character or the actress that's playing her. I made my decision. I do not.
DP, you're going to hurt a lot of people.
She like we were saying off screen, either she has like bad lines written for her, or she's not a great actress. I'm not feeling her delivery. I think they could have got somebody better in that position. It could have been somebody better.
I think it's too much, is what you're saying. I think she's getting confused trying to play two characters at one time. It's hard to do. Only a couple actresses have pulled that off, like in a movie. You know what I mean? It's hard to play two different characters and like switch your voice up and tone.
Maybe I feel like switch personality, tones, and everything.
I had a hard time keeping track here.
Who was who?
Which one was which when they were back and forth, and Osha was outside and May was inside, and I when they were cutting back on real close-ups, right? Not where they're like wearing different clothes and stuff, because costuming always is really nice to help with that. Yeah. When they do those close-ups, I couldn't tell. I couldn't tell the difference, and I wasn't sure if that was intentional or not. It kind of felt not. So, to me, I agree that they could be doing more to differentiate the two characters. You could be telling me like why it matters that, like why Osha matters so much. Like this just seems like some, like apart from her origin at that. The school for witchcraft and wizardry, I don't know why they cared that much. You know what I mean? Right. And it's not that it's not like the portrayal's bad of either of these characters. It's just that they're the same, and you could have made them fraternal twins and just had another actor, and it would have been fine. But I wouldn't have any questions.
Even in that,
better as younger representations, they were better.
I did not like that.
You didn't like them?
I didn't like the older actor. I prefer the older one.
Can I agree? I agree. The acting of those children, like I said, after 4 episodes, is better than what I'm seeing with whoever this actress is right now. The adult. I'm just not seeing anything that really pulls me in, and she's supposed to be the lead. The one who we're supposed to have the North Star towards and stuff. And she's not giving me those things where I'm just like, okay, I'm heavily invested. I want to see her journey. Hitch is saying that, when she's playing these two different characters, the only thing that you really differentiate is the costumes. That's not good when you're playing twins and stuff. And if you have to have the writing lift you, lift the actress and everything, I think that's just a bad thing. Now, as far as the whole story and stuff, it was a sleepwalker episode. It's like I was saying in the chat, we offline, off screen and stuff. It's like watching the soccer game and not really as much going on, and then the excitement really comes in the end. Now, I totally 100% disagree with you, T. Mitch. That end was awesome. That end was just like he was like, and pulled out his red saber, and pulled them all back. Come on, man. I don't care,
And it wasn't too much. It wasn't like it was just a very forcible. I'm taking over here. This is going to get bad. You guys better to stand down.
Yes.
Stand down.
Yes.
And
it's announcing your presence, putting your stake down. I'm the man.
Was it. That's all we got. So now we got to see where that. So this episode 5 is going to pick up there, and now we got to see what happens. Like who's gonna step up on the good guy side.
We know who's going to step up. It's going to be Leslie Headland's wife, the Green Woman, who's going to come save the day, which is now the most powerful Jedi who pulls out her Jedi whip. I'm telling you, it's already telegraphed.
Oh, that is okay. The whip. That's where we're going to see it at.
You saw it in the trailers when she had the whip in the forest. So somehow she magically comes to this planet now and saves them after they're getting walked. So 14 Jedi get walked by this guy. Then she comes to save the day, which is it's just I don't know. Maybe maybe you guys.
Or is that the antagonist? Is she going to die and create an emotional surge for the rest of them? Because she's not really a character; she's made up.
All she did in this episode was come in and tell the committee they need to, do a better job at keeping people quiet. That's pretty much all they're doing, and nothing has happened in this story to advance this plot since the end of the 2nd episode. Now we're at 4 because they decided to put episode 1 in the 3rd slot for some reason. Probably so they could throw the Wookiee up front and put the Wookiee in the premiere, since there wasn't any more Wookiee action at all, and they had to do that. And how about them just like basically showing the rest of the continuation of that scene from the end of episode 2 here at the beginning of episode 4, making you wonder why they bothered putting that flashback even in that spot. It just doesn't make sense from a restored order.
It was janky. It was very janky, very thrown together. That's why I left out that entire middle section of the episode, because it just was like it was a mix. It was a mix up of things. It didn't
you know what order of story I'm always fine with 100%. the order it friggin' happened in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The jumping
order
back
is
and
my
forth,
favorite.
and you know,
Yeah, to
the
start,
what
yeah.
you talk about you talk about linear storytelling. You know,
Yeah,
when you
that's always okay.
when you attempt to do non-linear stuff, leave it to like a Damon Lindelof, Watchmen, and all that stuff, where you know where he's a professional. He knows how to jump in and out, back and forth, and make everything make sense. You know, Headland, or you know, if he's running this thing, don't put your flashback in the third episode after, you know, a 2-week double premiere or whatever. Don't do that.
But to
And
have
if you're gonna make it like that, make it, you know, if it's gonna not make sense, make it not make sense good. Like,
Good, yeah.
and it didn't answer.
Make us think about why you're doing that. Like, I'm not even thinking about this. Like, I don't even care. That's the problem.
I feel like we're in a story rut here. Like the story has careened off the map and now is stuck in a ditch because we've lost a lot of momentum. And I feel like, you know, we could have maybe saved episode 3. You know, as I was saying, it would be fine up front. So, okay, that's always, like I said, that's always an option. You could move it to later when Soul obviously explains to Osha what the hell happened, or somebody does, because we need to know, because it's been 4 episodes now and no one has shown us this, even though we went back in time all the way back 16 years to this event. We went there and we didn't see it. It's like going to Vegas and not gambling, right? It's like going to Dairy Queen and not getting a Blizzard. It's like going to McDonald's and not getting a Big Mac. Like, what are you doing, man? So I feel like from a story perspective, with 8 episodes, they've wasted a lot of time. We've wasted like 25% of the time not telling me what the next thing is that happens. So I'm impatient.
And it's still supposed to be a mystery too. Yeah.
Yeah. Like what's the mystery? What is the mystery? Like we the Sith Lord's already here, right? They're going to have to fight the, you know, they're going to have to fight Jason Mendoza. It's going to be great.
Yeah. So like, I don't know. I mean, I don't know. You guys think the ending with cliffhanger was cool? I just was like bemused that this guy like blows people. Like, bro, how? Like, honestly, DP, I want to know like what made that so exciting. Cause lights up his lightsaber. Like, do you like? It just doesn't make sense. Like, it's not real.
That. I like that move.
I like the move. You know, I like the fact that they did the force push and stuff. I like the fact that he came from behind. I like this look. You know, it set up everything from a boring, you know, episode. Maybe I was just caught up in the fact, okay, well, something exciting finally happened.
Maybe
and it was
I think you were a little drunk on the scene. You were drunk on the scene.
Well, think about these Jedi, right? They're in the woods, sure, but they're going to a place where a Wookiee Jedi is at the end of this. Like that's the place of sanctuary. That's not a place where you should be in any danger if you're being watched over by a Jedi, you know, a Wookiee that can use the Force and can rip your arms off without any need, without any need for the Force. They have both things, and everything should be fine. And that's a big surprise when they get there, and this Wookiee has been murdered, which I guess the Jedi.
Well, they don't know yet. They don't know.
I guess they're starting to assume.
They don't know that yet. And I think, to your point, I think that gives our evil adversary a little bit of pumped up power level, because he knows there's no Wookiee Jedi, and he knows the Jedi don't know that yet. So I think that gives him a little bit of, like in chess, you know you got your guy. You know you got it. You know 3 moves and you're checkmate, right? You know that. That makes you a little cocky, doesn't it? Gives you a little bit of extra.
I mean, if you're an ass,
yeah,
of course. Well, okay, so you're a Sith.
You're made +2, and you start running your mouth. We'll see what happens next.
Yeah, I just don't.
A little bit of extra.
I just think you're giving this show way more credit than it deserves. Like I said, there's like 14 guys. Like there's no Shogun. Like nobody's doing that. I mean, come on, DP. You're a writer. Like come on, man. You're not going to put in your comic book that one character is going to take out 14 like that. Like, come on.
Why not? I can make up whatever I want. You know,
Batman would do 14-1.
You wouldn't do that. Yeah, Batman did and got his ass beat by Bane. And you know what's realistic? When we watched The Batman, he tried to take on 14 people, but he got his ass whooped and had to get He had to get an adrenaline shot. He tried it. You know, he tried
I don't know. I don't know. I mean, force pushing and all that stuff. It's
well, we'll
I don't
see
know.
what
I
happens.
Yeah, we'll see.
This
Yeah,
could be a quick fight the Jedi could win.
What do
right.
you mean though? You guys forget the trailer. You know what happens next, right? We saw the trailer.
Trailer could be that could be
No, the trailer's the next scene. No, it's not. The next scene, like they say, like, what the hell is this? And then he does like his lightsaber throw and cuts on a ton of trees and like he's like shoots some black shit off. You remember the trailer? It like gets real crazy and they're like all fucked up. Watch the trailer back and you'll see it.
Well, that's a good thing.
I'm ready for anything that's for people to suffer.
Yeah,
I'm ready for all them Jedi to suffer. They've been getting on my nerves, man. Come on now. Isn't that what we want, T-Mitch? You know, we want them to cut some Jedi down. We're anti-Jedi at this point.
I want to see them all die. I wanted to see action.
I wanted to see them all die. Okay, I didn't say all that. You know.
Yeah, I want to see them all die. And because basically, if this guy in May is this strong, then I want them all to go because nobody can stop them. Obviously, if May's just walking these Jedi Masters, nobody has a chance against her. Who is? And keep in mind, she's killing Jedi Masters without using a lightsaber or any kind of Force abilities. Like, okay. Because that makes any kind of sense. Yeah. Like I said, these characters have no intuition. And to me, it's just like a crazy thought to put this kind of spin on a Star Wars story that literally depicts the Jedi as stupid.
It's also weird that like they're saying Osha lost her passive Force powers. Like you'd stop using, like you just stop doing that. You know what I mean? Like if you could just sit here and know where every blade of grass was in your yard, like if you could just like do a check-in, you wouldn't do that every so often. I feel like I would do that all the time. I'd be like, I wonder what's going on with my daughter. You know what I mean? Feeling it out.
Did anybody feel it was kind of strange when the I guess a Sith, came and made his appearance and everything? The one Jedi girl, she turned around and was like, "What is that?"
Mm-hmm.
Like. I don't know. To me, that was a.
I don't think they were expecting Sith. I think
they weren't expecting anything.
Right.
Like what is that? Like this is like the first appearance of any type of. So this would be like a discovery of anything Sith related to the Jedi. Like this doesn't even exist.
Not to the Masters, maybe the Padawans. Like Yord probably doesn't know, but the Masters know. I mean, because they were essentially like. I'm sure they've heard about because the Sith did still exist. Like I said, I don't know where she's going with this story, but Plagueis is somewhere around. Like there was Darth Bane before him, so there are Sith Masters in this time frame. The problem is
so they don't tell their Padawans about that. About this. Like
they for her to just they train them, but they probably have no idea what a Sith. They don't know what a Sith looks like.
What
would you do if you went in? If you went into your garage and there was a full on authentic Japanese samurai in there, like with a katana, just like ready to cut you down. I mean, you would be like, "What the hell is going on?" You wouldn't register right away. And like, if there was pictures and stuff, you'd be like, "Oh, that's a samurai." I know what that is. But in the moment, you'd be like, this is incredibly weird that a samurai is like in my garage in full battle armor, ready to rock and roll. You know what I mean? That's the thing. It's the element of surprise, man. And I hope that happens to all of us someday. Where we go out.
I go in my garage right now.
And then we see like a samurai in our garage. Okay.
And there's a Shogun warrior in there. I'm going in ready.
You're going to know who put him there.
Yeah. I know who put him there. I know who take him out, too.
I'm just saying, like, the context is important. They're going to basically visit their buddy from work from 10 years ago. And all of a sudden all of a sudnn you get mugged at gunpoint, you'd be like, "What the hell? What the hell is that?" It's a gun.
Well,
it's a gun.
Didn't he come from like the tree? He like dropped down like a spider. Like
like a right.
Yeah, he did. He came down and
you didn't think that was cool at all, in the way he just like just
you know what I thought? I thought about Sting and like WCW, NWO Sting. Like he came down with a bat. Like I thought it was Sting from WCW. Like this guy in the rafters, like. Whatever. And like it's so crazy because like he comes down, but then her master, the starter master, they got tripped up, is like hidden in the woods. Like it's crazy, right? Like it's not the same person. Like he ran off, and then magically he got tripped up, and then she ran off, And the crazy thing is, she's like, oh, so May has no force intuition, but then she sensed when her master was there. Like, oh my God, he's here. Like, it's kind of crazy. And then, like, what happened to her witch powers? Because we all know she got that touch and that circle. So, like, May should be like the OP character because she has like she has magic on top of force abilities, right? She's not just one; she's both.
But Soul said it. She's not being trained properly. Her master is keeping things from her, including his identity. So there's a lot that she's missing. So you can't fault her because she's not at her whatever level she should be. She does have attributes. We know that she should be a little more of a a warrior.
Advanced.
But she's getting trained improperly, so it's all corrupted. It's not
so
not
based on what you just said, right? Tell me how the hell she just walked in 3 Jedi Masters. 2. Because she didn't smash 3rd. So
they didn't want to do it. I mean, maybe they didn't want to fight her. I don't know.
Yeah, they didn't want to fight her. They thought that she was they didn't know that she would be quite the adversary, even
untrained. She's just going to walk to Jedi Masters.
And it kept coming back to, I have no quarrel with you. I'm not fighting with you. I'm not doing this. She started to put her on the defensive, which made her have to like basically defensively fight, but they weren't full on fighting her. Torben, that was a complete anomaly. Like, she pulled him out of a hypnotic sleep with this apparition that she knew he was guilty of something. She knew he had covered up something, and she gave him a way out, and he took it. She mind scraped him without touching him. And that's
sometimes
the
you
only
need a
thing
good
her
mind
master
scrape.
gave her. Yeah. That's the only thing he gave her to use.
I can think of 3 or 4 times in my life I would like a mind scrape. So I'm
but
not
you know what's crazy?
You
know what's crazy about that? Like, so he was a Padawan when this happened. So how does he then become a Jedi Master and then shut himself off from the Force because of it? Like, during the trials, they didn't sense this. This is how I know the show's written shitty. Because they never passed
training. Shitty training. Who do we not see in this whole thing? Who's not here?
Well, he would have. There's no Yoda, but
who do we have? We have a bunch of like sociopaths that just think they have all the answers, and they're just going to cover shit up instead of actually laying it on the table and talking about it.
It's just crazy to me that he becomes a Jedi Master like in depression.
It does seem like they have the opposite thing going on, where how they never would let Anakin be a master, where now they just let everybody. Like, if you put in your 10 years, the Union says you're a master.
You don't have to take a test, no trials, nothing.
We ain't doing no tests no more, neither. That's
neither.
Where they are now.
He goes from Padawan. So they're like, I don't know. She's just, I don't know. It's crazy. So are there no Jedi Knights? They just go from Padawan to Master at this point. I don't know what Yord is like. It's just the show.
They haven't done a really great job in explaining the rules, especially to go all the way back then. And we still have questions about Jedi. We know that they're some type of cop system or police or whatever. But yeah, I mean, explaining what you just said as far as like, knowing like some of the rules and stuff that Jedi was
2008
back then.
That's like 16 years ago. It would be 2008. So these guys would you be a master? If you became if you were a Jedi Padawan in 2008, would you expect to be a master by 2024?
16 years.
Well, I thought Master was like an exclusive rank. Like, there weren't a lot, so that's what makes it even crazier. Like, that they're handing them out like participation trophies. Like, you can, because like, think about it. Obi-Wan was never a master; he was always a knight. Like, he never made it to master rank. So like, the fact that they're just giving it around,
he didn't want it. He didn't
want it. There was no council to even make it at that point. But still, like, he was a knight and a strong knight. But still, like, it's just crazy how they just hand out status. Like, at this point, it's just.
Yeah, I mean, you guys are right. We don't know who the leaders are. We don't know who the 12 are. We don't know who they are. We just know there are a bunch of. They're all wearing robes. Some of them have light colored robes. Some of them have dark colored robes. I guess that Soul is a Jedi Knight, based on his demeanor, his his energy, his anxiety over this whole thing. He's the only one that really has he has a thought about it. Like he knows something's off. He knows there's something else going on.
You know, they wrote Saul like he's a master. He's not a knight, but they wrote him to be. He's basically Qui-Gon. He has the same thing. He has like compassion. Like he's basically they rewrote Qui-Gon's story and made it Saul. That's all it is. He literally mirrors the way Qui-Gon acted towards Anakin is the way he acts towards Osha. It's like the same. As I said, to me, this is poorly written because it's just regurgitated. Like it looks like she took parts of each, like a ton of movies, and just snipped it up and just like knit it together. And was like, "Here we go. This is my depiction of Star Wars." And
I'm not ready. I'm not ready to be that negative, and I think it's because she could still pay off. She could still pay this off. Like this could all pay off in the next 4 episodes, right? But they better get to business. Got to get cracking on making me give a shit about this conspiracy of the Jedi. Like, why does it matter? Right. Who's the impact? What did they take something from Osha? Is May, are they going to switch and then, the Sith Lord is going to kidnap Osha and May will be with the Jedi and she'll actually know what the Jedi did because she was in the room or something like that. And they have to say it. Like, there's a lot of things they could do that could.
What else are they covering up? Like, what other? This isn't the only situation that the Jedi would be like trying to brush under the rug. This isn't the only mistake that they've made.
Yeah, and
other things.
With 8 episodes, by episode 4, we should know an example. We should have an example of that.
Something, by episode 4. I mean, almost makes like that flashback episode just worthless.
Well, and that's why I said the initial scene of this where we see the Jedi Council. Let's just call them all. They're all together and they're all talking about these events, and we hear mistrust, misled, cover up, don't tell the Senate. It's Watergate. This is 100%. If Leslie Headland has a idea of the Star Wars universe and what we would like to see 100 years before Phantom Menace, this is the moment that this is important. This is the point right here. And she's showing it very, very logically, and it totally makes sense. And now everything that we see, if you would go right now and watch Phantom Menace and Clone Wars, just watch them one after the other, this would all make sense. You'd be like, I don't know. I see it. I see where this moment came from. It doesn't make any sense in the prequel.
I would give this credit if I didn't read the High Republic comics. I've read a couple of them now, and I've read one of the books. And this would make more sense if that followed that. If you read the High Republic books that just came out, this makes no sense. I mean, bro, just think about it. How shitty. They don't even show the lightsabers off because the hilts are that basic, right? Every Star Wars has shown off all the cool hilts. We didn't even see this damn Sith Master's hilt. Like, that's a known Star Wars telegraph. They always show the hilt. Always. Every character, we've seen the hilt. Because you know what? They tell them. Look at even...
that's what I'm saying. How do we know this is definitely Sith?
Even if it's a dark side user, we have not seen not one of these hilts. Not one. Because you just said it. Where's the toys? Where's the merchandise? Where's the push? Like... What do they look like? I don't know. I don't know what this guy's hilt looks like. I don't know any hilt. We've talked about it. We saw that like a couple of them, like half-ass hilts, and they're just very generic. So High Republic hilts, and I've seen them in the comics. They have like arches in them. In the High Republic era, just like we have the light whip. There's a lot of the Jedi had cross-bladed lightsabers like Kylo Ren. That was a thing that they had back in the High Republic era, which we're not seeing. So
I don't know. This man seemed like it was a reject from a Saw movie or whatever, So
the helmet,
with the like little smile on it, like
look crazy.
It looked like those teeth just went all the way back beyond his ears, or her ears. We don't even know, but it was maniacal. It was. I wanted to see it move.
But at the same time, you could almost imagine them buying that thing, like in the store, being like, "Oh, I love the way this one looks." Like, you know what I mean? Like picking it out purely because it looks awesome.
Not because it actually means something.
Doesn't do anything. Like it's a kid that they don't use it to breathe. It just looks awesome.
You know what'll be really crazy on this series? It can save this. I mean, this show is savable. It's not the worst in the world. I'll say that because there's been a couple crap episodes. But what if Leslie Headland pulls like the ultimate what's that movie? What's the movie, the Matt Damon movie where everything goes crazy? Inception. Like, what if they play this whole shit that like we have the characters?
Come on, Leonardo DiCaprio.
DiCaprio, yeah. What if they like flip characters and like all thinks that OSHA is May and May is OSHA? Like, what if this shit really like that will be crazy? If this whole time the sisters, like we're saying, we think, and everybody says it, we think they're two different people.
Or what if they're the same person? They aren't two people. May died. May died. No. OSHA is now split personality and playing the entire Jedi.
No Shutter Island. Don't do Shutter Island. Don't do Shutter Island. No.
How would that be possible? The two of them together at any moment. But what one could be?
We have.
One could be a mental projection.
First of all, she alibied. OSHA was his soul when Torben was killed. So we know for a fact.
Do we?
That OSHA and May are two different people because OSHA was alibied by being with the FBI.
Yord made a point of that, but Jedi can influence. Jedi can.
I don't know about that.
Move through the Force.
Then they're doing stupid things in the story by confirming other information. Ken.
Right.
If they're doing that, then it's dumb.
I'm just saying.
Like
two of them together.
Isn't there a thing called force projection? Isn't that what happened in the Last Jedi?
Yeah, post-quote.
I don't think she has that ability.
They're not trying to
keep this.
They're not trying to keep this mysterious, and it's not some sort of weird time loop or they have one soul or anything. Like they're just twins. They said it. They're twins. They explained
and she shot her.
She showed me and told me.
Yeah, she shot her in the second episode and everything. So like. That was literally there in the same scene.
It was a terrible shot, right? I mean, it went.
Yeah, it was a terrible shot, and it's.
Well, no, she said that she shot at her and she didn't mean to hit her. She said she like shot in the air like this. It was like a warning shot because she had mentioned that during the episode that I didn't try to kill her. Basically, she shot at her like this. You know what I mean? Like it was like a warning shot. She could have hit her, and she chose not to. She chose to let her escape. So it was weird, but I don't know. I just think there's going to be like a flip, like you're saying, like that May becomes good or whatever, or like it's just weird. It's just weird. I don't know. I mean, she just got pushed into a tree or whatever, thrown in the air. You know, I don't know. After she got her powers back by touching a bug, like it was kind of like the last show.
I'll get this bug.
You know what I mean? Like
John's back.
Sabine magic.
Bug's dead. I had a connection with that bug. It's dead.
She couldn't move a cup, and all of a sudden she's double jumping on the top of a damn light cruiser.
Oh boy. Yeah, the rules need to be established a little bit more with these Jedi and their so-called powers and stuff.
It does. It's just a little, like I said, it's just a little all over the place.
Is Dave Filoni not like monitoring all this to make sure it all makes sense?
His name is nowhere on this. You know that.
Yeah, it's nowhere on. I mean, he is like head.
He is. So when I told you guys this before, when are we going to start appropriate and blame the people we like? We have to be even-handed and keep in mind we all said the same thing. And the people on the internet, I read the comments. Why are you going to blame Disney on this? Like, this isn't their fault. They wrote the check for somebody to produce the show. So everybody's, this is Disney Star Wars. Bro, I'm just going to say this one last time, right? Because it's starting to piss me off. And I'm not trying to be like pro-Disney, but let's just be honest. If George Lucas had this show, this probably wouldn't be out. The reason George Lucas sold it is, one, he didn't necessarily want to produce all this. And two, guess what? He didn't have the money. So let's just go back. Let's say he never sold it. Who the hell would be able to afford to produce this stuff other than Disney? Fox couldn't. We see what the hell Warner Brothers doing. They're broke. Like, what other studio, because we saw what they did with Marvel, and everybody loves Marvel, all of a sudden they hate it. Who had the funding to pay for this other than Disney? Apple?
Netflix.
And Apple wasn't in this space. Netflix, you know what I mean?
Star Wars on Netflix.
Exactly. Like, the Disney hate is crazy because they're literally the only studio who can be able to afford to present the show.
Well, what you're saying there is support to make more content, whereas if they weren't involved, then it wouldn't be as much Star Wars content.
Yeah, not at all.
We literally haven't gotten a Star Wars movie since the Rise of Skywalker. I mean, we've been getting inundated with Star Wars content like left and right and stuff.
Yeah,
so.
but would you? So you would trust
George
any other
wouldn't have
studio?
done that. You're right, T. Mitch. George wouldn't have done the streaming thing. He wouldn't have 5 or 6 different new stories running. He would have stayed with the movies.
But to be honest, but we talk about how not necessarily great the prequels were. So would
He
you
had
trust
nothing
him
to
to
do
get?
with it. He was.
He did. He
Not
worked
at
up into
that
episode
point.
2 and he walked away. He walked toward episode 2. He did 1 and everybody hated it. We've revised our. So let's be honest. I mean, he got tired. And
all the racing stuff was George Lucas wanting to be a race car driver when he was a kid. That's all that was. All the pod racing stuff, Wizard, all of it. George Lucas, from when he was a kid, racing cars. We all know he got in a big car accident and he was all gimpy, and they made him go to film school instead of race car school. And he always wanted to be a race car driver, and so he wrote it in to episode 1 that Anakin was a race car driver, which meant they had to spend more time on Tatooine, which meant they had to spend more time with those kids, which meant they had to put all that stuff in about Sebulba for no reason,
right?
Which meant they had to put the whole subplot where Jar Jar Binks steps in the poop and uses his tongue to grab the fruit. All that subplot is based on
and there's
wanting to
racing
shoehorn that crap in there.
Movies. There's racing through the original trilogy and even in the postquel. There's
but that's one.
but
there's a pattern. That's what it's like. One of the things like you follow.
But that's what George would do. There would be a race
Correct.
in this. They would be racing to get to Kalnaka, and they would be riding on speeders or something like that. And there'd
like
be an angry
Resistance had. I mean, that was absolutely written for George. All of those episodes were written.
We're race car drivers. That means we're the best fighter pilots. Hey, hold on a second. That's what that is.
So then, like we talked about, so where does the buck stop with this? Like Filoni saw this happening. He's like the head, or is it Kathleen Kennedy? Somebody you know what I mean? We can't just keep this is this person.
There's something weird with the pacing with these guys. I feel like Andor is the only show they've put out that was set up for the right number of episodes that they filmed and produced. This feels like it was supposed to be 4 episodes instead of 8, and they had to stick in a whole episode of crap, and so they started expanding and expanding it, and they just kept putting more stuff in, and then they started losing the thread. Because
keep in mind, Cash, remember this was delayed 7 months, and they reshot all this. So what the hell was the original script then? Because this is the reshoot. What the hell was?
But that being said, if you had it's not like there's some universe where there's a cut of this where it works, or it doesn't work, right? Like it could work. You could put this together the right way. It's just weird that they're making these sorts of mistakes and it feels like they're trying to save a misdirect that isn't coming. Like they're telegraphing a left hook, and you know they're not throwing a left hook, because as soon as they bring that left arm back, they know they're gonna get hit in the face. So it's not coming. And they keep saying, watch out for that left hook. Watch out for that left hook. And there's no left hook. Like, you know what I mean? It's like they sat down. It's like, let me sit you down and tell you about the new Star Wars series. Carrie Ann Moss is in it.
Yeah, if
dies right away.
If you're going to have a mystery, they haven't even shown the smoking gun yet, right?
Mm-hmm.
What is the smoking gun?
Yeah, what is the smoking gun?
That's what I'm saying. We literally do not know, what is the plot? Because it says the Acolyte. We don't know if May's the Acolyte. We don't know if this dude, who I think they refer to him as an Acolyte because they're not using the term Sith. So that's another thing. Is Leslie Headland rewriting her part of Star Wars and saying there's no such thing as a Sith? Because they literally said, is this like an Acolyte of the Force? Not like a Sith. It's kind of weird.
You're going to get a whole bunch of different dark side Force users, between the witches of Dathomir, between the witches that we see on this show, which are...
but distinct. I mean... Is that what this guy is? But if you have a lightsaber, you're pretty much a Sith, right? Would you assume that?
I would assume that what you're telling me is that this is a Sith of some sort. It could be a situation where this is like the apprentice Sith. You could convince me of that, where there's still a master somewhere, and this apprentice is trying to train another apprentice, and that's why they're being super shady about it and stuff.
And that's why it's not working properly, and why May seems to have forgotten everything that she learned when she was younger, like in 16 years. So where's the big guy? Is that the same? Are we seeing this new character? Is he the same one we were introduced to in the first episode, or is he different?
I read somewhere that that in the prequel episodes. in the prequel movies and stuff, they mentioned that the Jedi haven't seen the Sith in like thousands of years or whatever. So,
but it's crazy though, because when they said that, literally, and did this thousands of years, the last Jedi they seen was Darth Plagueis and Darth Bane, which is back to back in this period. So that makes it even weirder. So this guy's master 1000% has to be Plagueis.
So wait a minute, isn't it Ki-Adi-Mundi that says that the Sith have not been seen for 1,000 years? That's the guy that says it, right? And he's on this show. Like they're talking about this stuff with him, right? Like he knows about this.
So if he's at this age, then you know who's alive as well. Master Yoda or whatever.
Yoda seems to be alive. Plo Koon probably.
Right? Plo Koon is there. Plo Koon's there. Plo Koon is in the landing party.
Yeah,
he's standing there.
I mean, it just makes sense. There should be a bunch of, but if that's the case, so if the people that are going to be doing such a crappy job at Sith Lord coup prevention in the prequel trilogy era, if the people that do that are the ones right now that are kind of at the, I don't know what would you like, colonel level, where they're like, regimental commanders, they're not quite on the council yet, but they're their level before. Wouldn't you think they'd do a terrible job here, just like they do when they are at the very top? I would assume so, right? So we are already, it's interesting because we're already at the twilight of the Jedi, just because our idea of a life scale, which is like, 80, 100 years or whatever, is wrong for this society because they have people that live for like 1,500 years and stuff. So we're already looking at the generation that's going to mess everything up is already putting their hands on the wheels right now.
Mm-hmm. Crazy, man. I don't know. Like I said, this episode was just it's crazy, and I think and we talked about this. Like, I think we're too far into this whole like streaming era to like keep saying like, oh, like this is just a one-off. Like, we've done this enough. They've done this enough to know. And guess what? They've test screened this show. They had to sit down and watch this, right? And be like, somebody had to sit there in the boardroom and be like, yo, what the fuck is this? Like, for real, like it just makes me like shocked.
Yeah, but who was the test group? I mean, obviously it wasn't.
Maybe I don't know. People, of course not. But somebody.
It couldn't have been Star Wars fans. It had to be like the casuals that's trying to like.
You can't show a Star Wars fan a preview and expect that information to stay secure.
Oh, no,
we're not a good group to do that too.
The internet. This show would have been like, they've been doing a good job of keeping these plots under wraps for sure lately. Even with the Marvel stuff, they've been trying to do a great job of like shutting up people. It's probably the writer strikes, be honest. Since they shut out the writers, think about it. Nothing's been leaking out, right? So maybe a lot of these writers are getting pissed because they weren't getting paid. So they start talking and giving stuff to their friends and larger YouTube accounts, aggregate accounts, things like that. Because this stuff's been real quiet. But the show can still be paid off. There's 3 episodes. I mean, obviously the next episode will be the jungle fight, I imagine. But that just leads me to differ. We have 3 to go after this one. Like, this is the big fight. What the hell is left? Like, if they kill this guy,
4 to go, right? It's 4 episodes left, right?
I'm guessing after 5. So it's 4 total. But like, are we gonna have 2 episodes of this massive? Like, you know what I mean? Where do we go? Like, this almost like should be the end, right? Because after this battle, what the hell else? Is there going to be another, like, 2 boss? You can't have a double boss fight. Like, come on now.
I'll say it like this. Like, with House of the Dragon this week, right? Like, I'm anticipating the next episode because of all the crazy stuff that happened. Because a lot of things happened, and there were elements of the plot that were driven forward. With Star Wars this week, I'm hungry. I'm still hungry for Star Wars. I did not get enough from this episode. Right. And that's different.
It was cut off.
That's different than I'm anticipating. It's like in The Wire where they say,
the second course, like your appetizer was a little underdone. And you're really hoping that the stuffed mushrooms, when they come out, that they're going to be really saucy. That's what you're saying, right?
Yeah. It's like in The Wire when they say, okay, we got to step on the product more, but then the junkies need more of it to get high. So they come and buy more. So they do a worse job and get more money. That's what it kind of felt. What it kind of felt like here is just like, hey, just show. You could have shown the Wookiee fight. You could have shown that. You had plenty of time. It's not like you ran out of time on this like 32-minute episode. You had another 10 minutes.
Yeah, but what would that have been? Like the Sith, this Sith character couldn't even taunt him. Does he know? Does he speak Wookiee? Like, what would that all sound like? Because a big part of lightsaber battles is taunting. And what are you going to get with a Wookiee?
A lot
of. I mean,
that's just I would watch if that was exactly the soundtrack. I would watch that scene right now if it existed. We're really close. We're probably only about 5 years away from being able to go to some chat GPT and be like, we'd like to see that. And have it just show up. I'd like to see this Wookiee fight, please. Oh, excellent.
Yeah. I don't know. Like I said, we have a lot. There's a lot more to show. It's funny you said that offline, DP, about like this is not what I expected. I did want a little more action, especially with all these Jedi Masters. Even if it was hand-to-hand combat, I just expected a little more combat. There's still a lot to go.
It's the next episode should have a lot more. I mean, considering that everybody pulled out their lightsaber, and you would hope that it's going to be a lot of lightsaber action, come next episode, since they so abruptly cut this off with the with that massive cliffhanger at the end, that cool cliffhanger.
Yeah. Well, the crazy thing is there are 2 without lightsabers that we are currently. So there's May and Osha. May's in
how dare you forget about Basil?
Right.
Yeah,
so
how dare you forget about Basil? He doesn't.
Basil's the tracker. I mean, and we got to get a tracker to track our tracker. I mean, that's
why would you need a tracker? You can use the Force. You should know where this thing is. You should have that spatial awareness.
Right.
All right, I'm not doing this anymore.
You're going down the rabbit hole. Exactly. They can't find a Jedi. Like
anyway, did you guys see House of the Dragon this week? It was crazy.
Right.
Am I the only one to watch that? Really?
Yeah. That's where we are right now. We're talking about other shows. This is how great
got too much going on.
That's how great this is. So we really appreciate this episode. We'll see.
We really appreciate this episode.
We appreciate this episode.
I saw the sarcasm just dripping out of your.
You did.
This really felt like my great aunt Eleanor, when we would go to her house for Christmas every year, it was like a tradition. And every year she would make something weird. So you'd show up ready for roast beef and potatoes, and it would be like ham loaf or something like stroganoff one year. And it was good, but you were just like, I was ready for something else.
Yeah.
I mean, there's only one place we can go with. We can only go up from here. Like, it cannot get any worse.
Something has to happen. That's the thing about nothing happening for a while.
Yeah,
something's got to happen. We have been promised. If they now do not pay off this fight, if this fight doesn't happen, I'm going to be really pissed because they have messed with us enough. They've messed with us enough, not showing us that stuff.
Right. Well, they've drawn their weapons. Remember what she said: the Jedi don't pull out their weapon unless. So you're telling me the High Republic Jedi gets wiped, not a single Jedi in the entire galaxy? Bro, I've said this, Jacob. Like, this is the craziest shit that these guys get wiped by a push. Nobody holds their ground, and yeah, it's just weird. We'll see. It's crazy. Nobody senses.
And a force push is not. That's not a surprise. That's like saying, "Oh, my clever move in chess is moving my queen forward." Like, now I got you where I want you.
These are not the Jedi that we are used to seeing. These aren't Jedi that are used to conflict. These are talky, preachy Jedi. These are political Jedi. That's all. That's
you don't think
that's the difference.
No. I think they're bad. Some of them are battle trained.
I guarantee you, that's the problem. This is a peaceful galactic republic. There is no empire. It says at the beginning of this show. This is 100 years before the Galactic Empire. There's no conflict. The best we got are the Jedi screwing up things and covering them up. That's what
they're always investigating. They're in friction. I mean, they're the police force. They're the FBI. The FBI doesn't go soft.
There's
not that I know.
Nobody for them to fight. There isn't.
I mean, you have to read the High Republic novels. It's crazy because this is the canon story. This is a canon story.
This isn't what we're talking. It's not what we're talking about. This is a separate. This is like a little vignette.
So this isn't
Ken. These are the same exact people in some cases that are in the Clone Wars doing all the crazy stuff, like jumping out of spaceships and entering atmospheres, just flying down with robes and
they had to evolve to that. They had to.
They got better. Okay.
The game changes. You know, hey, look, like 130 years ago, baseball
It's 100 years.
Different.
Yeah, exactly.
All right.
The dead ball era was still in full effect, right?
Yeah.
Ty Cobb was just showing up on the radar about 130 years ago. He was bunting and stealing home and hitting people in the face with his spikes. Everyone hated that guy.
But and I appreciate Jacob. I mean, it's crazy. I saw a couple other comments as well. Eight Jedi is some Palpatine level power. Exactly. 8 Jedi, and this guy's gonna take down 8, and then the last one can make and kill 2 Jedi Masters. Yeah, I agree with you, man. We talked about it. I don't know if you've been on the episode the whole time. I appreciate it. But yeah, we discussed that. It's just crazy how it's written. But hey, we got 4 more to go. We're gonna give him a shot. It's not over yet. She can still turn this Titanic ship around without hitting the iceberg. It's getting close. It's getting close to hitting it, but we can still steer. We can still steer a little bit. So.
Yeah.
We'll see how the combat is. The first episode, the combat was cool, so we still got time to go. But really appreciate this week, guys. It's been a crazy episode. A lot of talking points. I hope everybody else is having this fun discussion because, there's a lot to talk about with not a lot of even content. So. And that's another good comment. The Sith have been extinct for over a millennia. Ki-Adi-Mundi's over 100 years later. Yeah. And
that dude's in this.
Exactly.
So that's like, he probably knows. He was here.
But the crazy thing is, like, this is how you know these stories aren't connected, because he says that line, but also during this period, we've been confirmed through George Lucas novels that the master at this point is Darth Plagueis, which is Palpatine's master, which makes things even written more weirdly. But we'll discuss that in another episode. Hopefully, episode 5 is going to be a great episode, and we don't have to try to stitch together headcanon and figure out what's real and what's not, because now the story seems to be rewriting the history of what the High Republic and seems to be writing Star Wars, because we're basically saying that Plagueis doesn't exist right now. So we'll see. But yeah, guys, another great episode. I appreciate the comments, Jacob. Please, I hope you smash like on the video, and please continue to comment. We love it. So great discussion, guys, and we'll give it another week and see how episode 5 is. So until next week, guys, this is the way.
This is the way.